Welcome back to Income Trading 101. Today we're going to take a look at Solana, and this is Easter Sunday. This is April the 4th, 2021, and I had a little crypto on my mind and decided to go ahead and make another video for you guys. So let's go ahead and I just want to see how far back we can go. So looks like about a year ago, April 2020, this coin has really, or this token really, has kind of came on up and pulled off a bit going towards the end of 2020, like many of these tokens. And they really pulled off as, Bitcoin was gearing up. And then 2021, look at, just all of these. It's one thing to talk about the equity market in the U.S. Or the equity markets in general. But what these tokens and coins have done this year, 2020, is nothing less than amazing. So let's just take a quick look at this, and we're going to use the same analysis. I'm a big believer in using the same style of analysis regardless of the asset. So whether I'm looking at stock or whether I'm looking at crypto or whatever, you can make in Forex or futures. I've made videos for all those, and I trade a number of them. Different comments have asked about whether or not I'm new to crypto or if I'm new to futures trading or options. I've been trading markets in general since about 2001 professionally. But when it comes to crypto, I've only been active for about the last year. But sometimes my goal, like, if you'll notice, I'm using the US dollar. I like looking at things versus the dollar. Sometimes I'll definitely make some mistakes here and there, but I like to be consistent in how I'm viewing things so that I'm always able to compare apples to apples to some extent. If I look at one exchange versus the next, if I look at a token versus Bitcoin, all of a sudden, and my base numbers are going to be different. I like looking at things. I like to change as few variables in my analysis so that I can keep my analysis somewhat valuable. So let's dive in. So this is just with the daily. You can see that all the trend lines were in line until this period of channeling. And this channeled for most of, I'd say, halfway through, really the end of February through beginning of, or end of March, and then really got a nice pop there. Let's take it to a lower time frame and just take a look at what's going on. So at the 1 hour, it minimizes the strength of this channeling period, and we can really take a closer look at how at the 1 hour, all three moving averages appear to be not only in line, but all three appear to be heading higher. So we're getting higher highs and higher lows. Let's take it down to the 30-minute just to see if it holds consistent. It does. And just for consistency, we're going to take it down to the 15-minute and take a look as well. The 15 minutes obviously going to make it a lot more I guess the averages end up being a lot more sensitive at the 15-minute point, but we still are seeing all three moving averages in line with one another. So that's it's a pretty strong signal to see it bullish all the way across. Let's take a look at the MACD, and I don't get the sense that the MACD is going to be super valuable, only because it really gets influenced heavily by these trends. So when you're in a trending market, like you can see at the daily range, we haven't even gone negative in the MACD since since 2021. We crossed over and have stayed in what would be the overbought period. So even though we had a crossover, that could have been a sell signal, it never went below the zero line. So if you had sold somewhere in here, you most likely would have lost money or chopped yourself up and possibly not been prepared to go ahead and get long again. Let's take this to a lower time frame. We'll go to the 1 hour. So at the 1 hour, we did see a crossover. This would have actually crossed over again below the zero line, so in the oversold category. So this would have been a clear buy signal back on April 2nd, so just a few days ago. And we've had a nice run up since then, and all of this choppiness is really less valuable as far as using the MACD as a trading signal. When I look at this at a shorter time frame, would have gotten the same buy signal back on April 2nd. And you can see this is a lot more sensitive at the 30-minute level. But this is why, if you notice, this never went back negative. Like the MACD and the signal line never crossed into negative territory, and it pulled higher. This is why it's one of the reasons why I'm pretty focused on seeing the MACD and the signal line. Even after a cross, I want to see them go either positive or negative. So for this to be a sell that I would take, I want to see that MACD and signal line cross into negative territory. Otherwise, you might just end up with the continuation of the previous trend, and thus, either losing money or not making the total extent. And here you see that once again at the 15-minute level, we had a nice crossover, a buy signal here on the 3rd. So that's just yesterday, and strongly positive, but it's just oscillating sort of in positive territory. So, if you shorten the time frame too much, this indicator can become less valuable. So you really just have to get used to it. All of these indicators, get used to the analysis or the results that it's giving, and that way you can kind of create your own metrics around what's valuable for you to use for your trading and what should be ignored. Sometimes you need to ignore them, and that's also why I like to use more than one indicator. The last part of this analysis that I wanted to do is really just taking a look at that sideways channel that we saw, just to get a better idea of where the breakout really was. Also looking for areas that could end up being, in the future, could end up being support and resistance. And right now, when a market has gone up so much, right, it's hard to define a clear level. But if we do have a retracement, you'll want to be aware of where there was, buying pressure, selling pressure. Oftentimes we see support become resistance and resistance become support. So in this scenario, Fibonacci isn't relevant because we pretty much have had a strong bullish trend, but you definitely want to be aware in the future of where support is. So just looking at the top of this little channel, let me flatten this out actually. Looking at the top here, you have a top around the top of this trend or this little channel, arguably at the $16 range. You could even ignore those two bars and pull this down to the $15.20 range, because you'll capture the majority of that channel by doing so. So if we were to have a pullback, that might be an area that you could see some strength, as well as this previous high around, let's see, that would have been $17.20. So that's really it. I mean, this is yet another token that is strong and appears to be getting stronger. I mean, who doesn't love to just see green, 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 and then these huge up bars? So if this is something that you trade, feel free to comment. I'd love to hear why you own it in the chat. Feel free to leave a comment, and as usual, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button, and I'll make some more videos this week. I hope you guys are having a great weekend. Happy trading.